If stab me in my face, Joe gonna get me killed.
Welcome back to the podcast that we haven't named yet for the third time. This program is really pissing me off, so thanks for sticking with us.
It's trying to.
Nobody is,
trying
but
to-
I appreciate pretending that people are.
Let's call it the choppy.
Big L
podcast.
left even. Look at that. We lost one of our members of the podcast. That's how great this is going. So thanks
So
for
we were
staying with
auditioning for
it.
him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm out of here,
He's
guys."
like, "I'm out.
These
I'm
guys,
done."
These guys can't get the chords together.
Right.
I don't even know where to begin at this point. I'm fed up with technology.
Well, let's not talk about technology. Let's not talk about powers anymore, since we kind of moved on from that. And Jeremy was trying to tease me about my love for Thor.
Can I ask you?
I wasn't- no, I
I'm
wasn't
not
trying to
asking
tease
you. I'm just saying I want to discuss it, and I feel like not because you're black, but because you'll know more about this than me. I have to ask you the Kanye West thing. What the fuck do you think is going on there? Like, I genuinely like. It's clearly just like a bipolar
we had
kind of
this
episode, right?
We talked about it a little bit, but I'll say this.
Because he
We
said he
talked
didn't
about
want to
but
talk about it
We
before.
talked about
and
it,
I
but we
just-
was off air and we just recorded
Yeah, I'm
it.
just
All right.
curious. Like,
But
I'm trying to
say
wrap my
this.
brain around
I'll
it.
say this while we're on air, and I want to be very clear about this.
I want to be very clear about. I have not watched or listened to anything that he said.
Oh yeah, that's cool. But listen, I want to be very clear. I am not the average person.
Okay.
It's a little bit what do they call cocky or narcissistic to say that, but I'm not. I actually
You're
study.
thinking you have a different view on it than most people would. Okay.
My views always come with context. I don't talk on things that I don't think about
Okay.
immensely. I've studied history, and I study history, and I pay attention intently when it has something to do with race and the discussion of race. I'm not on Kanye's side. I don't agree with everything he says, but it's like the broken clock theory. Broken clock is right at least 2 times a day, as they say. Kanye can say some very inspirational and genius things sometimes, and sometimes he can be off of his bipolar medication and say some crazy shit.
Right.
Kanye,
Do you think that's what's happening right now?
no, I don't even want to sum it up like that, because like I said, I don't even want to try to explain his thing, but I know what's happening. I don't want to explain his position in anything, because like I said, I'm not Kanye, but I'm also not a person who's bereft of a knowledge of history. But I do notice that there is a pattern for black entertainers, black politicians, and prominent blacks in positions of influence and power, that there are certain lines that can't be crossed, and certain things you could say in different communities will come out after those people with a veracity that they won't for white people in the same positions.
Well, we're not necessarily oppressed.
No,
Or haven't been at any point, for the
But
most
understand
part.
what I'm saying. If we have people, for me, I look at the historical context of it. Like I said, I see Kanye.
Did you
in
see
the
him
position-
double down
I
recently?
see it. Yeah, I see Kanye in the same position
out the
right
red
now
list.
that he is. He's in the same position that Ice Cube was when he was making music, and he would say Jew on the album. Ice Cube could talk about killing 800, and I'm gonna say the N word because I'm black, and I expect other people to respect the reason why I'm saying it
I'll
because
believe
I'm
it.
black. But what I'm saying is, Ice Cube can talk about killing black people on music tracks for a 30-year career. He can talk about murdering people in the community, Eazy-E, Scarface, all of them. But if you a hip hop connoisseur like I am, listen to music, you'll know that you can listen to those very same tracks, and if he even say the word Jew,
Right.
it's cut out. It's bleep. He had a song about black people selling out, and he said, "You trying to be white or Jew, but ask yourself who are they to be equal to." That's not negative to Jewish people.
It's saying they're societally better, viewed
but it's
better.
not exactly. But it's not a knock at Jewish people.
Right, but that was one of the
But-
things when he doubled down. He said, I looked up what anti-Semitism is, and it's pointing out that people are in charge of stuff.
Yeah, but listen, a black guy saying, First of all, let me be clear about anti-Semitism. People have a right, like I told you before, we have a right to define what it is that offends us. I could see the hyperactivity of the overreaction of coming out of the Holocaust from World War II and being hyper vigilant don't even say Jew. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't even say Jew. They try to murder all of them. Bro, they put those people through some of the most horrendous shit that ever happened to any human being.
And I'm only asking you this. I feel like it's being equated to like the N-word.
Well,
Like, how do you feel about that?
What I'm saying is, no, but that's why I was trying to say it clearly. That's why I was taking a little longer time to explain it, because I don't want to be like a soundbite thing where you could take a little bit and try to make it something that it's not. What I'm saying is, I understand the hypervigilance in protecting your people. I know that they go overboard. Like I just gave you the context, Ice Cube saying this sellout black guy's trying to be white or a Jew. He didn't say, I hate Jews, Jews should die, Jews run everything or nothing. He just said, you're acting like somebody that's not of your culture to fit in, to gain.
Do you think that falls in the same ballpark as like saying some stereotypical thing about any race? Like, do you think that falls into? Because I feel like that's where they've tried to define.
I think that the Jewish community is hyper vigilant about being targeted or being made to
fair,
appear
that makes sense.
And I just told you they went through some of the most horrible things that has ever happened to any group of human beings in the history of humanity. But when you're that hyper vigilant and you're that hypersensitive, you jump on everything. You don't let you can't say a single, you can't even, like I just told you, you can't even say Jew on a hip hop album in which you're talking about murdering your own people. Those very same people, this is not happenstance, and this is not a conspiracy theory, and this is not we hate Jewish people. But to tell the truth, to speak truthfully, when you look at the people who run the record labels who put out this music that talk about killing black people from black people, the people who run those record labels are Jewish people.
That's what Kanye was saying, though. He was acknowledging that
those names. Those are real people. We see them.
Right.
They do interviews. They actually do run those labels and stuff. So
do you think they're trying to protect the fact that like that shouldn't be all they're known as is their religion?
Yes, they should. Nobody should be known as simply what they are. It's just like when I walk in here and.
So do you think that's why it becomes anti-Semitism?
Not to be a dick, but like I said, when I walk in here, I laugh at it sometimes. But if the joke every single time is, it's a black guy here, it's like, all right, well, shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At some point, give me another joke. It gotta.
Right.
I have a personality. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, listen to what I'm saying. I got 5 kids. There's all kind of things about me besides the fact that I'm black.
Right.
If that's the surface level and that's all you see, it's like, oh, goddamn. Can we do another joke? You know what I'm saying? Give me another joke at some point. So what I'm saying,
you got to mix it up, Jeremy. Apparently.
No, I
don't feel like we've done that in a long time. Like it's been a many.
I'm just saying, I'll come in, call me fat, something, anything. But
it seems more inflammatory than an obviously.
Oh, see, look, and here's my Jewish friend right now, just tuned in.
Go on.
Look, Alex, he's been a dumbass. I'm not. No. This is my buddy, Alex. You don't know him, but I'll have to say,
I can't know him.
No, I didn't say you can't know him. I just say you don't know. But I don't want to say what he said on here.
It's in the comment section. Feel free to read it.
No, it's not in the comment section. He sent it to me in the text message. But I'm not reading that because I don't. Like I said, I don't agree with everything that he says. But I do know that there's a objective truth, and then there's a.
I guess what's the point?
Truth.
What's the point of it?
The point of it is
like if those people got into a position of power, it wasn't like it was just given to them.
No. Here's the difference. So historically speaking, when I watch these interactions, I see when they did the same thing with Farrakhan. I see this when they did the same thing with Jesse Jackson. I see when the same thing was done.
By the same thing, what do you mean?
Whenever
like the villainizing or something?
When you could, if a black person can come out and speak about Latino community, they can speak about whites, they can speak about a million different things, and they can definitely degrade blacks. The second you say anything about the Jewish community, it's like an attack. And like I said, I understand the hypervigilance in those reactions because you don't want to ever go back to that situation.
Right.
I think sometimes we forget that we, as black folks, we need to be hyper vigilant when people attack our people just for speaking. And this is a message from a black man to other black folks. When people come against us and they show us who they are and they show. And I'm not saying to be racist. I'm saying to have solidarity with your own people. When people come against you and show you how they feel about you culturally, every time they tell you where your lines are, they tell you what you can and can't say. They make it where you can't even express any form of dissent when dealing with certain people, or else you'll be ostracized. We have the authority within us to actually do the same. So maybe we should take a lesson from our Jewish brothers, our Hebrew brothers, and we should be hyper vigilant as well. I'm not saying go against the whites or the Jewish community or the Mexican community or the Latino community. Sorry. I'm saying maybe we should also adopt that hypervigilance because we don't want to go back to where we were.
So do you agree with it in that sense, like from their point of view?
No, I said that several times.
I know. I was just clarifying.
I understand it, and I think for black folks, we need to.
You're
learn
saying you
some
guys should step up to that level.
I think we should have that same hypervigilance.
What would that look like? Like what do you mean?
Like?
What's more hypervigilant than like? I don't. What is
it's just
currently?
all of it is a financial boycott. We live in a capitalist society, and black people spend hundreds of billions of dollars and putting that in other people's pockets constantly. A hypervigilance with our sensitivity towards how people see and approach us is if you are dealing in things that are not contributing to the black community, we stop giving you our money.
So do you feel like that's what's happening on the other side? They're looking at it as the Jewish community as opposed to just themselves?
For a large part, yeah. There's a lot of communities operating that way. I know for a fact that
I don't feel that at all, and I'm just speaking for me, but I don't feel that at all in the white community. Like there's no solidarity. There's no.
That's right. Yeah, because you start getting meetings about that kind of stuff, and you're going down a road you don't want to go down. Right. Yeah. Next thing you know, right.
Yeah.
You know,
but no, to be fair though, but look at it contextually. You're not in a position to have ever been oppressed.
No, I totally understand that.
So you don't have to even think. You can literally have the freedom.
That's like the broad definition of white privilege.
Yeah, yeah.
You can literally go out right now and just say, Joe want to spend Joe's money on what Joe want to spend it on. You don't even have to think to yourself, man, is this money going back to the white community that's underserved with our with the budgets that come out of these, congressional meetings and shit like that? I have to think about that shit. I have to literally say to myself, damn, which grocery store should I buy my food from? Because I need to know if they're employing black youth. I need to know if they're going to actually give towards programs that, do things because we have to.
That sounds exhausting.
But those things have to be visible for us.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah.
I'll give you a prime example, and I'll just leave it at this. I was in high school, and I'm from Chicago. Chicago, one of the biggest cities on the planet. Everybody knows it. You've all heard about it. We've got songs.
I've never heard of it. Where's that?
Never heard of it. It's right outside of Gary. Small city outside of Gary.
The suburb of Gary. Yeah.
Suburb is a Gary suburb. But my point was, I went to the school, and it was horribly funded. Horribly funded. We had old books. Some of the books still had the names of some of our forebearers. Like, you sign in the front of the book when you get it at the beginning of the year, you would see like your auntie name or some shit in there. It's like, Jesus Christ, these books are old as shit. We're in Illinois. Chicago is the population center of Illinois. Chicago schools should have more funding. We had a pen pal program with the school in Rantoul, Illinois. Rantoul is a small town in central Illinois. The school, when we finally got to meet our pen pals, we were pen paling over the computer. This was pre-internet, but this was like the internet beta or whatever. I kid you not. We got on the bus and first of all, those kids came and saw us at our school. They came to Finger in Chicago on the bus. These kids got off
I forgot what we're talking about.
And they was I'm telling you about why we have to think a certain way.
Okay.
Those kids came and looked at us, and they was looking at us like we was in a fucking zoo, and they was looking like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe this is an actual school. And we didn't understand. We never been nowhere. This is our school. This is where we go. So when we had our turn to go down to Rantoul, we jumped on the bus, took a 3-hour ride or whatever. This fucking school was so well funded. Every classroom was brand new. Everything was dope. The computer lab had like brand new, the state of the art computers and all this shit. This little ass town. This is why we have to pay attention, because that little ass town cannot possibly contribute enough in taxation dollars to the budget of the state of Illinois that their school is funded to that point.
Right.
You know the money comes from where the black folks at in the cities, in the inner cities.
What do you mean by that?
The budget comes, your state budget comes from taxation of the citizens. The population center for Illinois is Chicago. So Chicago schools should have, ipso facto, Chicago schools should have better funding than some small town with a population of 3,600. But then when you go to that small town and see that those schools are better funded than the schools in the city, you have to ask the question, hey, well, why do we not have shit? All our parents go to work. All our parents going to work, they paying taxes. They paying the same fucking tax. Oh, because the funding goes to where the white kids are. It's just as simple. So I have to be hyper vigilant in where I spend my money, and I need to know where it's going. I need to know how it negatively affects my community if I keep spending my money
so
with
it's not
somebody
so
outside
much
line.
that other communities are necessarily doing that.
It's just the way
It's
the system is
just that
currently
the-
set up.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
That's all. So that's why I
no,
say.
that's fair
So
enough.
that hypervigilance, we can all adopt that. And black people, once we get to that point where we adopt that hypervigilance and we stop feeding into a system that's not giving us equitable return on our investment, we'll be fine. Until we get to that point, then we'll just sit here and complain about who can and can't say what.
In which
Kanye West
superpower
should
you
not
want?
be talking about people in a way that could be detrimental to their community. Let me just say that, and let me be clear. He should not be talking about people that should, in a way that should be detrimental to their community. But he also should never be in a position where he's working with mostly Jewish people and not be able to say that those people did something untoward in that business transaction.
Is that what he's alleging at this point?
I don't care what he alleging. I'm just saying, as a person,
I think
you
it
shouldn't
feels like
know-
it's more that he's just pointing out. It doesn't feel like a specific gripe, and I think that's where the issue comes in, with people being offended by it. And again, I'm more of the offenses taken, not given kind of person, but I get why people don't like what he's saying in this regard.
I have very few thoughts because, again, I didn't.
No, but like I said, I always look at it not.
What he seems to want is a sit down with all of the people who write the contracts for like professional athletes, music, actors.
Yeah, but that
all
also
this
could be a
stuff to sit
power
down.
play coming from somebody in a
No, he's
position.
trying to even it out. He's
That's-
trying to make it where music makes more money, and I get it, but it's a selfish proposition that he's acting
it also
like is
could be
altruistic.
it could also be the act of a person that's in a desperate state, and also bear in mind, I look at everything in a contextual lenses.
What's the desperate state he was
is-
in?
He is literally mentally unstable.
No, I get that.
So, I always take that into consideration. And the desperate state that he's in, I mean, this dude was already in a desperate state, but we wasn't paying attention because he didn't say nothing about the Jewish community at the time. People forget that his wife
What
or
is that?
ex-wife,
How is that oppressing him? I guess is my question.
not oppressing. It's not.
So what is his concern? I guess is my main question. What is his issue with the fact
I
that
can't speak
there
for
are
him.
Jewish people in places of power? Like, how does that negatively impact him?
All right, so put it like this. Take the Jewish community out for a second. Mm-hmm. If I said simply, if I have business dealings with you, Jeremy, and Big Al, 3 white guys. If I say, man, I was working with these white guys and they fucked me over.
Right.
That's it.
But you're talking about us three.
No.
in particular.
Listen, I'm talking about you 3 in particular. But if the white people community was hyper vigilant, like the Jewish community as a whole, I would not have been able to say that statement without some kind of repercussions.
But there were
financially.
repercussions. He lost billions of dollars in a
I'm
day.
agreeing with you. What I'm saying is take the Jewish part out because you caught on that. Listen to what I'm saying. The statement in and of itself is me saying my interaction with these 3 white dudes did not go the way it should have gone.
Right.
If white people just turned around and said, you can't say white, you can't say the white community, you anti-white, you a racist, blah, 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 and we're going to take your investment from you, we're going to rip up all our
Right.
previous contracts and shit like that. That's all. It's literally the same thing. It's just
To be fair, in this particular instance, he was provoking it. Like he was asking for.
I'm not. Listen,
Like
you
that
still arguing
soundbite of
for
him
whether or
going-
not somebody on his side or not. I'm not on his side.
No, I'm not saying on his side or not.
Contextually, I always look at things through the lens of historical information, and I've seen this
He
movie.
was just sitting there going,
I've seen this
I can
movie
say
before.
anti-Semitic stuff, and Adidas can't drop.
Because he.
Let me repeat
is-
that. I can say anti-Semitic stuff, and Adidas can't
can't
drop
drop
me.
me.
Now what? And then Adidas.
He
dropped
literally
it.
said that.
He was provoking it. Like he was asking for
But
that.
listen, he is also mentally unstable.
That was my original question. Like, if you think it just chalks up to that, like
No, not
mental
just that. I
imbalance.
think there's also. I mean,
You know,
can't-
also,
everything-
I
nothing's
think-
that simple.
Right. Again, there's a huge difference here. Really, the only thing I say is like, you could sit here, and you could say almost the same exact shit that he was saying. I could say the same thing. I could sit here and say all the same things. Right. All three of us. It doesn't matter who says it. We could sit here and say the thing. Nobody's listening to us.
That's a fact.
So I think I don't care
Yeah,
who you
I
are.
think he's trying to use his platform.
I don't care who you are. If you have millions of people that listen to you, whatever platform that might be,
Right.
podcasting, music, television, whatever it is, in some way, shape, or form, your state of mind is different, mentally unstable or not. And mentally unstable ain't gonna help with that situation.
Not at all.
But like
Your
we can sit here and
frame
spout
on
it all
that,
day.
yeah.
We're like, I guarantee you, if I sat here and said the same things, the consequences tomorrow morning for me
Would
are
be
going to
nothing.
be nothing.
No,
There's
you
no
in
reason to
middle
hear what we said.
America and you in a
You
town
know why? Because
surrounded
they
by
don't
white
have any
people.
way. They don't have any way to take anything away from you at this
That's my
point.
point.
What I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like the whole, it's hard to even fathom or understand what his state of mind would be without being there and being able to
Yeah.
compare it.
I was like, like I
can't-
said, I just pay attention, and like I said,
Yeah.
I know this shit'll blow over. I mean, people forget that Mel Gibson is Mel Gibson said worse shit, and he's literally right now in talks to direct Lethal Weapon 5, I believe, to end out that movie series. Mel Gibson's gotten back into Hollywood in a big way, directing and acting. The shit
That's
blows.
because we love a redemption story. We
Well,
love somebody
no,
saying,
just-
I was wrong,
I
and
just-
I'm willing to do things to concede and make up for my
I
wrongdoings.
just think that we just don't care. I think
But if
we
he did nothing, then no. We
No,
wouldn't. He wouldn't be allowed back in if he was still making racist rants.
No, he wouldn't. But what I'm
In the
saying is,
public
what
eye.
I'm saying is, what I'm
Right.
saying, right? Pretty much. But no, what
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying
I'm not
is,
saying he's
I don't.
not
I don't
racist.
actually think we care as much as we pretend to care. I think we pretend to care in the moment because it's the thing to do. We are very
No, man, I'm really affected
Fake.
by a real life example of somebody like doing some stupid shit and ruining it for everybody else. CM Punk got into a fight with the like people that started AEW. He went on to a media scrum after the pay-per-view and just went apeshit talking shit about the people the EVPs of the company. And then they came to his locker room afterwards, and then he started throwing punches. And now he's done.
for now.
He's done.
Yeah,
No,
no,
he's done in AEW.
That's
and
not-
like, but that fucked it up for me. I was stoked on him being back, and like I was so excited about it, and he fucked it up over
And he
nothing.
wouldn't. And he wouldn't throw a single punch in his MMA debut. I just
Right.
want to point that out.
Yeah, but he starts some shit there, and he's never going to admit he was wrong.
Yeah, I
And,
mean,
like all this shit, and it just fucking ruined it for me. And like I'm the one watching, and I'm getting screwed out of it because
Yeah.
you're saying some stupid
dude, with
shit.
Bret, I
like
feel
it has repercussions.
when
There-
Bret
I
Hart
follow the
left
Kanye West
WWE,
subreddit.
when Bret Hart left WWE after the screw job in Montreal or whatever they called it,
WCW.
that broke my fucking heart, bro. Like literally, Bret Hart was my favorite wrestler. So it's like I understand where you coming from, but what I'm saying is societally, we forgive and forget on a scale that's so large that we don't even think about it consciously.
But he's a dude who had CM Punk chants for 7 years while he was gone.
I know, but you saying
and
something that
somebody
just happened
just-
recently. I'm just
somebody
saying,
just
give it about
started
5
one.
years, and you're gonna be sitting here like, yeah.
I mean,
CM
I hope
Punk
so,
back in the
but-
spotlight. Dude, Jerry Lee Lewis married like his 14-year-old cousin or some shit, and they was just honoring him on the news the other day when he died. We
We
forgive.
do have a societal problem of like
we forgive
this
and
person
forget.
did this thing or contributed this
Yeah,
thing.
but their level
therefore
of
they're
talent and
untouchable.
but their level of talent and entertainment might outweigh the public's interest in holding them accountable.
So are we talking cancel culture, or are we talking?
No, I don't really like labeling stuff like that. None.
What do you think the like societal repercussions should be?
Outside of people losing their physical freedom or their wealth, we don't actually have societal repercussions for anything. People shouted to the high heavens that they felt like O.J. Simpson murdered Nicole what was her name? Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Yeah. To the high heavens. You couldn't tell white folks. The black folks, we didn't give a fuck. If he did it. We laugh about it.
You think he did it or not?
I don't care. I don't care in not even a little bit. I care less about OJ having murdered somebody than I do about balling up this paper towel right here. It's completely.
But that's not my question.
But this
do you think he did it or not?
I don't know. I never even thought about it. He might no.
Never even
listen. Because here's the problem with what I'm saying right now. This is my point. Folks walked around with this weight on their shoulders. Oh, you're a fucking murderer. I seen white folks lose their goddamn mind, see OJ in public. You're a goddamn murderer. OJ is a fucking internet personality now.
Right.
I'm making my point. My point has been the same the whole time. I don't think we care as much as we claim to care. Given enough time, we just, over a long enough timeline, like you said, earlier when I was talking about having superpowers and living for a long time, and you was like, you get
I agree 1,000% that would work.
Societally, we have that same symptom. We have those same symptoms over a long enough timeline. I don't think we actually care about none of this shit.
There is something to the phrase of like some like out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So like the newness of it definitely doesn't help.
Fair enough. So, but like he's saying, like 5 years down the road, you won't. Unless somebody brings them up or something like,
unless they continue.
Right.
Like that's the other thing. If people change, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
prime
why
example.
I'm
R.
okay
Kelly almost got away with it, right?
Right.
He beat the first trial. People was like, "That's digital piss." We had jokes on. We had Dave Chappelle made famous skits about it. All this shit. This fucker kept making tapes. You understand what I'm saying? He kept producing evidence against himself, thusly jail.
Right.
Other motherfuckers, they got caught.
But if he had stopped,
that's my point.
Not just making the tapes, but doing it.
That's my point.
He would have gotten away with it.
He had gotten. That's my point.
People would have been like, he rehabbed himself, though.
This comes to the thing of
he had hits and shit coming out.
I'm so famous, and so I have so much money.
13, Jesus Christ!
I beat this charge. Of course I'm going to keep doing it because I'm untouchable.
Yeah,
right.
That's the same thing I was trying to explain that Trump's mentality to my wife, because Bill Burr said it best about Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, this guy, of course he thought he could bang his maid in his home, in his bed,
right,
and get her pregnant.
Yeah.
He was on a fucking 40-year winning streak.
Right.
He never lost.
Right.
He never lost. He played gritty New York
Speaking
cops
of Bill
with
Burr,
an Austrian accent.
We're going to see Bill Burr tomorrow.
Dude, I totally blanked the fact that you were going. I thought you and Michelle opted out.
No, we're going.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going.
I thought you guys were out. I didn't.
No, why would we be out?
I have no idea. I thought for some reason you guys couldn't go or something.
Speaking of being out, we're going to be out because this podcast is over. So
I'm
thanks
gonna
for
get
watching.
in trouble. Y'all gonna get me fired.
Thanks for
my
watching
wife.
podcast.
I'm sorry.
We'll be back next time eventually if
I'm on
there's
my way
nothing
home.
to TV to talk about. So
Vape is dead.
until then, theme music. See you later.